In 1851, I believe it was Frederick Scott Archer. It was originally done on glass plates and then transitioned to metal later. Okay. Plate is peeled. I'm going to open up my Collodion. I use number Z Collodion from UV photographics. I think it's the most effective for studio lighting. I've tried using old workhorse Collodion as well, and it has better contrast and it ages nicely, but this is more stable and I've been getting better results with it. I'm going to unlatch my silver so that's ready. We're going to take the Collodion and pour it across the plate, and I'm going to rock it A, B, C, D in a clockwise motion to spread it around. First I should spray it down with air to get off any particles. I got my puddle. I'm rocking A, B, over to C, down to D, and back into the bottle, and then I rock it to get off any excess. I bring it to the paper towel and continue. And now it's ready to go into my silver nitrate bath. I'll open up the hatch. Turn my timer to 3 minutes and it will continue to soak. And now we need to put it into safe light. While I'm waiting for that to soak, I can get my stop bath ready, which is just tap water. And I can also give myself a portion of developer. I use a recipe called Leah's Developer. It's a mixture of ferrous sulfate, white sugar, glacial acetic acid, Everclear, and distilled water. And I usually do about a tablespoon and a half for a 4x5 plate. It's more than I need, but better to have more than not enough. This will be the tray that I do my development in and my stop bath. Once I expose, and then afterwards I'll transition it into a bath of fixer, which is sodium thiosulfate and distilled water in a 1:5 ratio. Got my carrier ready. This is a 4x5 carrier. I have a sliding hatch, so there's 4 pegs in here that my plate will sit in. I will then close up that hatch and lift this front slide, and that will then expose my plate to light once it's inside of the camera. After exposure, it'll get closed again, and this is a way for me to transport my plate back and forth between environments in a light-safe condition. I also have an 8x10 carrier as well. What else? Got a minute left. Need to get this paper towel ready to wipe off my silver. Seconds. Removing the excess silver nitrate off of it usually takes about 30-45 seconds. So I'm going to lift my plate up out. I'm going to grab it, let the excess drip off. We're going to dab it onto a paper towel, getting off any excess silver nitrate. And we can see the plate is now white instead of black. It has now been sensitized. I will also take a paper towel and wipe off the back of it to remove any excess silver, just trying to eliminate as many contaminants as possible once it goes into the carrier. And we want to work fast because it needs to be wet for development and exposure. As it dries, it loses its sensitivity and it just won't develop. So now that I have it, I'm going to place it inside of my carrier. Now it's sitting in my carrier, I'll close it up, and we are ready to expose. Go. This is my studio lighting setup. I generally work with one overhead and a beauty dish, and then one off to the side with a modifier. This is my 4x5 camera that I've been working with. I'm going to open the ground glass at the back, which is where I compose my image. And I'm going to slide in my carrier. The lens is going to project the light back into that carrier where the plate is, and that's how I'm going to capture my image, which will be mirrored and inverted, so it'll be flipped. I'm going to cock my shutter. I'm going to pull up my slide. That plate is now being exposed, or has the ability to be exposed to light. I'm going to use my shutter release, and I'll open up that shutter. And I'm going to pop the strobe once, close the shutter, and I'm going to slide that carrier cover back in and remove it from the camera, and now we're ready to develop. I'm going to close the door because it needs to be light safe now. I want to make sure I'm holding my carrier in a downward position the whole time. That way I'm not getting rollback or overlap and having the silver roll back on top of the plate. So we're going to open up this back hatch. Pull the flap down, take out our plate. And then I count, not in seconds, but in Ansel atoms. I count for roughly 11 to 14 Ansel atoms. 1 Ansel atom, 2 Ansel atom, 3 Ansel atom, 4 Ansel atom, 5 Ansel atom, 6 Ansel atom, 7 Ansel atom, 8 Ansel atom. My image is coming in, 9 Ansel atom, 10 Ansel atom, 11 Ansel atom. The shadows are developed and I'm ready to pour. I'm just pouring water over the top of the plate, and we're going to pour water on it to stop the development. It's going to be done once the plate no longer looks oily or greasy and the water just kind of rolls right off without beating up. I usually just do a liter of water to be on the safe side. It doesn't necessarily take that much, but that way I know it does the trick. And now it's going to go into my fixer solution of sodium thiosulfate and water, and it's going to rest in there for 3 minutes. It's technically now light safe, so I'll turn the lights on so you can see it getting fixed out. The image is initially a negative, but as it's getting fixed, it will slowly transition back into a positive form, or a positive image. The image will start to disappear, and then it renders back in. The white edges are excess collodion and silver that are in the process of getting fixed out. That's just the most dense points, and it will fix out by the end of it. About a minute and a half left in the fixer. Once it's fixed, it will go into a running water bath, a gentle running water bath for 10 to 15 minutes to get off any excess chemistry, and then it air dries, and then it will brighten up about a third to a half of a stop, roughly. So all of our highlights and shadows will get a bit brighter. You can see those edges are finally fixed out now. if I did not continue to fix it and I let those white edges stay, they would start to turn blue over time because it's still a light sensitive piece of material. Seconds. Get some water ready. Seconds. And our wet plate image is now technically done once it's in the water bath. I'll just have light running water on it for 10 minutes.